Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have the pleasure of receiving you for this afternoon's interaction, which will be addressed by the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. John Buadu. General, you are invited to the podium, sir.
Thank you very much, Communication Director, Honorable Boabia Samwa. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, good afternoon and welcome to this press conference. The 2020 general election, we all know, were held successfully almost a year ago. The verdict of the Ghanaian people, as declared by the Independent Electoral Commission of Ghana and affirmed by the Supreme Court, was emphatic. It was a big yes for the NPP presidential candidate Nana Akufo-addo to contest. It's not over. They are unable to come to terms with the reality that election 2020 is over and they have lost it. Ghanaians rejected them like they did in 2016 because they have nothing good to offer this country of ours. They just cannot go beyond partisan politics. They are still in the campaign mood as though we are building up to a general elections tomorrow. Unfortunately, John Mahama, the former president, who ought to have known better, is rather the one leading this backwardness. As we speak, he's embarking on a nationwide thank you tour to thank Ghanaians for rejecting his incompetence and his insensitivity. Apparently, he hasn't still accepted his fate. He is still in a campaign mood, stopping at nothing, at firing salvos and peddling lies at the current president and the NPP government. We are really not worried about these distractions because our president is focused on delivering the good job. We are, however, minded to respond to his recent allegations because we think that much as the Ghanaian people know him, we still need to remind them of his deceptive utterances. As observed, he has turned his so-called thank you tour into an election campaign. Yes, he has a right to campaign, and we don't begrudge him, but he should play by the rules of engagement. He has no right to deceive the people of this country by twisting basic facts. During the 2020 election campaign, we recall him saying it is acceptable to lie to win elections. Having lost the election, he's still peddling half-truths and twisting facts. Some of his assertions are embarrassing and need rebuttals to set the record straight. His comments on the creating of the 6 regions is embarrassing. First of all, he accuses President Akufo-Addo of creating in name only without development. That is, he accused President Akufo-Addo of creating regions in name or in name only without development. He's so wrong on both counts. Facts are that the people in the affected regions, Western, Bron, Ahafo, Volta, and Northern, did petition the then fresh president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, including NPP and NDC, worked together enthusiastically. Not once, however, did we hear a peep out of former President Mahama. He did not lead his people in the Savannah region. He did not lead the NDC. Now he pops up to twist the facts of constitutional creation into the doing of one individual. Yes, that individual is President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. He was bold and responsive enough to lead the people to achieve that dream. And I remember when we were inaugurating that of the Savannah region, the chief and people of Savannah said that over 40 years they've been looking forward to have their own region, and that for them Nana Addo Akufo-Addo should not even do anything. He has been able to achieve what they've dreamt of for 40 years. And all these 40 years, John Mahama, who comes from the region, has been president of this country, has been vice president of this country, has been MP, assembly member, minister, and all that. He couldn't lead his people to achieve such a laudable feat for the people of Savannah. On development projects in the newly created regions, the Honorable Minister of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Honorable Dan Botwe, has been more than emphatic. He tells us that 96 projects are currently ongoing, with over 70% complete, whilst a few have been handed over. 6 regional administration blocks, 24 blocks for decentralized departments, 66 staff bungalows, 30 motorbikes, and 66 new vehicles have been delivered. Furthermore, Agenda 111 will deliver regional and district hospitals as well in these regions. So it is not just in name, and it is about developing the area, and this is what has been achieved. For the information of the failed candidate Mahama, the Akufo-Addo administration has pioneered a model where government and public services buildings are spread throughout the region. The advantage over the old cluster model is that every locality within a region will have a hub around which to deepen development. On election 2020, once again, we insist that it is clear defeated candidate Mahama is yet to recover from the 2020 election loss. After deceiving a few of his supporters to attempt mayhem on the roads, he has the audacity to talk about averting civil war. His inept petition was dismissed by the Supreme Court in a public hearing where he went to court with no evidence whatsoever. Except John Mahama and his NDC course, the entire world hailed the 2020 elections, a solid record of running the entire elections in 6 months at the height of the worldwide coronavirus pandemic. And our election was excellent, which was hailed by all. Knowing they will lose to the sterling record of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, John Mahama NDC put every conceivable obstacle in the way of the Electoral Commission. For a whole year, they held sometimes violent demonstrations against the intentions and operations of the EC. They hailed COVID-19 as the panacea for not having elections at all. They did not have a solution if elections did not happen. They could not care less. Indeed, John Mahama seeks to undermine our electoral and political stability anytime he comments on elections. However, with the resolve of God and good service, the EC registered voters, exhibited the new register, and conducted general elections from June to December 2020. In spite of COVID-19 that led to restrictions to international trade and travels, the EC managed to procure all its materials and deploy them to maximum effect. Remarkably, even more significantly, the government of Ghana under the constitutional Democrats, Nana Addo akufo-addo, paid for the entire election. It hasn't happened before, where the entire budget of the election was paid from our own resources. This is a plus for the country. Another unprecedented feat in the history of elections under the Fourth Republic. It hasn't happened before. International observers deemed the elections free and fair. Local observers also supported this fact. Prominent local media houses independently called the elections for the new patriotic party, and Nana Addo akufo-addo was duly declared the winner. Yet, aspirant Mama will shamelessly have the world believe otherwise. But that is John Mama for you. He never disappoints his pettiness. NDC and Electoral Reforms. John Mama and his NDC have no shame. After disrespecting and damning the EC and its leadership throughout the electioneering campaign, they had the gut to call on the EC to undertake electoral reforms, even after refusing to attend the opportune platform provided by the EC for all political parties to meet and undertake a review of the conduct of the 2020 elections. The NPP has said, and we're going to repeat, that we are not going to dignify their so-called proposals for electoral reforms by responding to them in the media. The media, as well as the international community, cannot be the right forum for such an exercise. We are a disciplined political party and respect rules. We do not play to the gallery. We are a serious political party, and so if the NDC is serious about their demands for electoral reforms, they should table it at the right forum, which is IPAC. But if, on the other hand, they think that the media can undertake reforms they are calling for, then they should go ahead with their rantings in the media space. We are not going to debate in their own turf. They should be honorable enough and come back to the table for civilized discussion and debate. The NPP has always believed in the electoral reforms, and if we are to go through some of the reforms that they've put out, you just know that it is just face-saving things that they have put out, to the extent that they are demanding that electoral commissioners must be vetted by Parliament and must obtain two-thirds majority before they are accepted. With the kind of politics we see, with the kind of parliament we have, what it means is that we are not going to, at any given point in time, have a head of the Electoral Commission. Strangely enough, the NDC had the opportunity to always appoint commissioners and the head of the commissioners. From 1992, 96, 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, all these heads of the Electoral Commission were appointed by the NDC. So what has changed? That all of a sudden they are crying on rooftops. The NPP is proud of its record in supporting the continued transformation of elections in Ghana towards more transparent and fairness. However, the NPP has always tried to act within the rules in pushing for changes. Let the NDC be advised to swallow their arrogance and get down from its high horse, accept the loss of the 20 elections, gracefully come back and participate within IPAC so as to add their voices, if any, to the transformation and reforms of our elections. Hospital projects. At the heart of his attempt to lead the NDC again as a flag bearer is John Mama's allegation about his abandoned projects. He has been particularly loud since the successful launching of Agenda 111 to change the healthcare delivery landscape of Ghana. So even though the Honorable Minister for Health has spoken to debunk John Mama's effusion, I wish to repeat with all the emphasis that at my command that John Mahama did not leave a legacy worth abandoning. His best shot at housing is in court now, the Saglem project, facing questions over millions unaccounted for. His history of cocoa roast is replete with horror stories. He barely managed to deliver 2 interchanges, that's Kaswa and Circle. President Kufuor secured funds for 9 hospitals under the Iroject the Invest Inspire project in 2008. The NDC did not complete even one of them in 8 years. Funds were secured, but in 8 years, they were not able to complete even one. The NPP government of Nana-Addo had to come in and complete them. The Wire Regional Hospital and Ga East Municipal Hospital were commissioned for use in 2019. In Soko, Chifupraso and Tema were available as at November 2020. The Afari Military Hospital and Sewa Regional Hospital are due for handover in 2022. Salaga and Konongo are on course. These are not Mahama initiated projects. They were the brainchild of His Excellency J. Kufuor. Mahama was behind a set of 8 projects under NMSI. Most of the money of the project was invested in 1 out of the 8. That is the Shai Osudoku District Hospital at Dodowa. The akufo-addo administration has had to restructure the contracts and get contractors back to site at Fomena, Kumewu, and Takrade, Sekendi, and Garu. And these have been started. Now Garu has been separated into 2 districts, that's Garu and Timpani, and they are to benefit from Agenda 111. All the polyclinic projects under VAMED have been completed. 10 in Central Region, 5 in Greater Accra, and others in Savannah, Northern and Volta Region are all completed. The University of Ghana Medical Center required another $50 million before completion for active use in October 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the NDC for you, touting achievements they have not concluded. On corruption, former President Mahama has said without proof that the NPP has stolen Ghana's money and that he can ensure accountability through elections. This is extremely rich, coming from a party credited with the Supreme Court of Ghana with the ability to create, loot, and share public funds with impunity. Is Mahama of Government Official 1 infamy and the Ford vehicle from Canezo contractors talking about corruption? Is that the same Mahama whose government signed into a half-day contract of $1.6 billion for the Ghana Retail Payment System infrastructure? Certain Switch Systems Limited have just lost an arbitration demand for $478 million from Ghana for revoking that agreement. The akufo-addo administration did a far more enhanced project for only $4.2 million. They were requiring $1.2 billion. We only used $4.5 million to do that project, and they didn't even care. They went ahead to demand that we should pay them an arbitration fee of $478 million, and the court had ruled against them. On the certain switch issue, the Bank of Ghana, as we all know, has won an international arbitration of $478 million against Sifton Switch Limited. The case at the London International Court of Arbitration also saw Sifton Switch being ordered to make a substantial payment to the Bank of Ghana in respect of its legal fees and cost of arbitration. One of the facts of this case is that John Mahama's good friend Roland Agambiri, you all know, you remember him, was at the center of being granted unbudgeted contracts without even PPA approval and paid upfront before services. You remember that of the guinea fowl issues and laptops issues, where monies were granted to him without going through PPA, advance payments were made, and he didn't deliver. He used some of the money for homes in Dubai and for paying media houses for NDC adverts in 2012. His bigger money heist was this Sifton contract. The fallout from the expose was that the contract was awarded at a cost of 4.6 billion Ghana cedis under John Mahama. A contract that didn't go through PPA, a contract that we revoked and used just $4.5 million to complete with an enhanced facility than what was given to them. He was going to use 4.6 billion Ghana cedis. And without shame, when the contract was revoked, he had the audacity to go to court to demand that he should be paid $478 million. Thankfully, the court ruled against them and awarded huge costs against them for the payment of legal fees for Bank of Ghana. What is even more remarkable about what has happened is that a lot of people were quoting billions of dollars and it became an issue of public debate. But this system has now been built for less than $4 million under the NPP government. It is not more worrying that all dubious deals under Mahama were carried out by the RLG man. Mahama advised Gambiri to go into hiding after the elections. The NPP government saved the country billions of dollars, which has helped the government channel these resources into projects like free SHS, planting for food and jobs, and 1D, 1F. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the same Mahama who was asked on an international media platform whether he was corrupt, and he replied, in which capacity? As a human being? We all know that unlike President akufo-addo, candidate John Mahama cannot and has not been able to make any bold statement to tout his incorruptibility because of his personal involvement in a lot of the corruption scandals that plague his administration. He has proved to be corrupt, and that during his time as vice president, his bots, and which has been said over and over again on the acquisition of 5 aircrafts, to the extent that his boss has to call for investigation in some of those activities. Ladies and gentlemen, please indulge me on the matter of corruption, because fighting corruption is very, very critical for our survival. Ghana has experienced regime change, often violent, on the back of allegations of corruption and mismanagement. Commissions of inquiry have banned people from public office, and in the extreme, a regime tied people to the stake and shot them for corruption, meaning that better means must be canvassed beyond mere allegations. Ladies and gentlemen, best practices championed by international agencies and multilateral institutions show that the fight is not an event, but it should be a process involving several facets and aspects of the state and society. The World Bank promotes a multi-pronged strategy involving institutional constraints, political accountability, civil society participation, competitive private sector and public sector management. Under institutional constraints, expectations are of an independent and effective judiciary, legislative oversight, and independent prosecution and enforcement. The NPP is investing heavily in judicial reforms, especially digitization of processes that will make justice delivery faster and more responsive, as well as court infrastructure nationwide. The 8th Parliament of Ghana has a near equal representation of the two major parties, a speaker from the opposition. This will make for even more responsive oversight than before. President akufo-addo boldly fulfilled his promise of an independent anti-corruption chair in the form of the special prosecutor. It is the expectation that the new occupant of the office will exercise the powers of the office to the optimal level, and we expect, and Ghanaians are expecting more from that office. Political accountability includes political competition, credible political parties, transparency in party financing, disclosing of parliamentary votes and assets declaration, and conflict of interest rules. That NPP administration is pushing forward legislation for public officers code of conduct that has been neglected in parliament for years. The third leg of best practices is civil society participation. There we have freedom of speech, public hearings of draft laws, and a role for the media and NGOs in governance. Ghana has one of the most vibrant media environments. The NPP Kufuor government freed the media from fear of attack when it replaced the criminal libel laws on the statute books. Nana akufo-addo has gone further. He has overseen the passage of freedom of information legislation. Again, Ghana's freedom of information legislation lay in parliament for over 20 years until akufo-addo administration ensured its passage into law. 20 years. It is Nana akufo-addo that ensured that this all-important law is passed. This further enables civil society, who are already involved in lawmaking in parliament, through extensive stakeholder consultation. Indeed, civil society in Ghana comments vigorously on most government initiatives without fear or favor. The most recent being GNPC and its investment intentions. I must say that I listened to an interview on Asasi Radio by Simmons, and I was very, very, very happy. The content of the debate and the discussion was deep, and I believe that government will have the capacity to assimilate some of these comments that are coming from the civil society organization for us to move on, because as the saying goes, tikro enkwejina, and I believe that these are sincere comments coming from us, because from where we are as a country, we cannot stay back whilst most multinationals in the oil industry are moving directly from extracting oil, leaving most of our oil stranded. If we are not very careful and we don't move with time, we will end up having the wells, we will end up having drill to commercial quantities. At the end of the day, our oil will be stranded. So deeper discussion and understanding in the recent GNPC investments is very, very apt, and I believe that it will continue for a very long time to come. A competitive private sector includes economic policy reform, regulatory simplicity, transparency in corporate governance and collective business associations, NPP-led reforms in this area includes the review and passage of the Companies Act and the Land Act, the disclosure of beneficiaries of companies, and insolvency rules. These laws, amongst many others, are set to open up the private sector to more transparent and rewarding business environments. Finally, the World Bank strategy looks at public sector management. This area includes meritocratic civil service, budget management, especially procurement and audit, tax and customs, sectorial service delivery in energy, health and education, and decentralization. In all these areas, the NPP ticks the boxes. The NPP has led in cleaning up public procurement with specific laws and now e-procurement platforms with standardized pricing. The government is moving on rationalizing the taxation funds with the Ghana card, whilst paperless customs procedures have improved revenue collection to the government and service quality to port users. Ladies and gentlemen, the NPP is investing heavily in healthcare delivery and education. Free SHS comes with infrastructure and more contact hours. Tertiary and TVET education are coming on stream. COVID-19 has been brilliantly managed to the admiration of the entire world, leading to less human losses and a faster economic rebound. Post-COVID-19, Agenda 111 is set to strengthen healthcare infrastructure and thus delivery of healthcare services to every part of Ghana at costs supported by NHIS. Swift and bold measures have stabilized the energy supplies, including getting a grip of the debt overhang in the sector left by the NDC. Decentralization is moving forward with the arrival of 6 more regions. Public and government services are getting closer to the people. So on the whole, the political tactics of shouting corruption ought to be obsolete as all these factors and institutions work together to build a resilient system less dependent on human intervention. A call for a mere change of government by a personality who has no anti-corruption credentials does not help the fight against corruption. NPP is adopting and adapting best practices to deliver system wide responsive and must be supported to do so. And I dare say that as former president, he knows all these institutions. So any corrupt practices that he determine or is able to identify, I think that all these institutions are available for him to send those corrupt practices to. And I don't think that anybody is going to close the door at him at all. So it is important that we take the bull by the horn. Let us know. Let us get credible allegations that we can have evidence in order for us to arrest or determine whether the people are culpable or not. And I think that it is important that as former president, it goes beyond just allegation, but also bring evidence to bring the so-called people that is referring to book. Ladies and gentlemen, the NPP is also championing an employment agenda. With the successful location of the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat in Ghana, the local manufacture of diverse automobile brands, and the location of growth industries of Google and Twitter to Ghana, modern opportunities for growth are expanding. This is coupled with the rapid turnout of 1DYF factories nationwide, generating employment and further opportunity at several levels. Equally, we can make mention of the aggressive digitization drive being experienced in the Ghanaian society. Digitization simplifies access to services and reduces human contact, Moreover, it secures paperless transaction, thereby reducing costs of doing business. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the NPP has a much better record. We do not even compare ourselves with the NDC because they do not have any credible record to compare with. The Fourth Republic is more mature than just mere slogans. The good voters of Ghana expect concrete actions from politicians. The 2024 elections shall be fought and won on records, and not who can insult his opponent the most. No amount of political mudslinging and fact twisting can change the fact of the incompetence of John Mahama and this NDC group. We are focused on building Ghana of opportunities and prosperity for all, and inshallah we shall get there. Thank you for your attention. Area na ye fremo ne mo di nkomo na ya mama ti ase na na adudan kwa akufo-addo election na ye to 2020 na ewie be kamera ye se bi mo nti ase se ewie nti omo eda so wo campaign mode nim, and more importantly the leader of the NDC and as NDC flag bearer na olusu 2020 no but start to say thank you to say damn confusi for losing the elections into kuko regions no there you wanna say ko nyina no kwan say starting a campaign this year no obi ansi no kwan say contributing to the discussion of growing Ghana, but the only kwan say in some enya no kure na obesa kan sema what twisted fast no eno ya ade a say set records in street ba ko kan ya nwama ni jiri se say ya twen Ghana for aso ene omo ni gina so ne se say President Nana Akufo-Addo sorry no creative regions no so creative no say edi kekani ya creative ya creating so a ya nya adwuma bia ya develop by wose ya de kono ya ntumi mfa nkoe enya nokre wo mu ne se na Akufo-Addo ba ya Ghana for to abama in 2017 no ena regions enum voter region, northern region, upper east northern region, voter region, western region, and a brown half citizens are wo ankasa edi petition every president and Akufo-Addo petition over the over years obia enti omo na constitution is be eteno say citizens will be the petitions aba also the ma independent inquiry na omuhwehwem wie ya omo report na baaye no na che say dia omo ka ene de omo gina so ntia also ete region foforo no na ejinamu emiti no the constitutional process na start here na Akufo-Addo knowing very well say answer na about to create region no na o say nkofo a was our region na we create no o say unya more than 50% of omo to aba ho ebeto aba obeto aba no so a o say omo to 80% in favor of the proposal for creating the region sadie nyina ye di hudwuma any political parties ne traditional authorities no any citizens ne kofo bebre di hudwuma ye hu NDC for ye hu joma ne savana kra no wanko anko ye dwuma ewo ho na nyame adom ye to aba no na ye tumi create sa agency ye create regions ni wie no so no for the past almost 1.5 years enya no crese ye nya development bia ewo ho utie minister for local government or say ye create regions ya ye 96 projects egusu koso 70% of these projects no ya complete bebre wo ha ya hand it over ama ombe use projects no 6 regional administration yegusu ayesi 24 blocks for decentralized department no so no yegusu ayeye ho adwuma staff bungalows e OCAC 66 enu yesi ya tomoto bikes 30 ama 66 new vehicles ya de ama and because of agenda 111 into no so 6 regions in ebenya regional hospitals ebesenya district hospitals and into no enya no kre say regions no yate ewo din mu keke ene emfa development enko 96 projects so far na ya ye ewo these districts there dance no wo yen ya ba mo ne say ye the different model yemfa concentration of development in trankran ni Kumasi pe ye ewo Ghana faran na jobia enya development ni bi de ka wo bio ye ne comment about election 2020 election ya atuewie unusu elections si o se won ti ase initially o se we win elections no nti nkwara enko demonstration yenye dede yenye say na wa kasa ode assembly court ode court one fa evidence kire say we win elections initially so we win after do wa so we win na obi a win yes abadodo ahin na onya ya so one fa mba opponent abahin na onya ya so one fa mba denti na ofili say we win elections na o say unim nti court na ebua say NDC for petition ya amode bae ya njintum na na adodanko akufo-addo ewini election no without any problem at all. The one say electoral commission we are ewo hoyi enya dia NDC for no eboju ho kra na the one say this is the first time NPP are buying aba abemo opportunity and a privilege aba we commissioner the head about to aya 1992 ni nyina 92 96 2000 2004 2008 2012 2016 nyina the other electoral commission ano NDC na yi omo eno de omo hu se bone bi wo ho enti ekwan a omo fa so bia se omo twetwe electoral commission na ase ma won tumi anya adwuma no eno enti no wo be kai 2020 electoral commission decided say ye be ye new voter register omo ye ho demonstration ekeka ho sem se covid enti me enye se se omo po de kai anto aba no kra ankam se omo pe and in our constitutional arrangement no say anto aba 7 December the kind of chaos everybody memo enya asamketo electoral commission ka omo ho hye ejina omo na so organ register foforo exhibit register no ema yeto aba obia ni ho Ghana o say me ko register me to register and am person me to aba me to aba ema yeto aba ni mani ye fe obia ra o ye independent minded person jitumpa say 2020 elections was free, transparent and fair. There were more crown say for the first time in the history of our country ya nkoji this year ewo baby and I train my European Union abring sika any donation any grants there be ya nkasa ya mine ya nkasa sika ya wono and the fund the elections and idea electoral commission idea papa now see and just as we hear the biano see to about we are electoral commission near trans as ipa consequences of that debate and position it ever omo come out with their defeat as quickly as possible because baby you have about discuss electoral reforms apart from say you never call electoral commission under the banner of IPAC for rest to have discussions. Of course, almost sabi any political party insane all other political parties here. Now they want to now feel no church. Almost bear a copy. You responded to them say you could copy no. Although she said that any no. We ever expect to say more come out as early as possible. We're getting more apologize to IPAC and the Electoral Commission. Near Sergeant, more banana the more reforms in the bar. Now, you shiamo any reforms because all the reforms now are more suggestion. It's laughable. And shada and cover beer. But say also almost be bintino or matron. Yeah, expect to say almost na yaya discussions. Yeah, Papa John Mama, echo and so no. Okay, say oh, projects be our obey na ye jai projects no hospital projects I obey ye jai projects no and the year agenda 111. We cry woman say only project be our be a jai to project hospital projects hospital project Eurojet the invest under President Akufo Agyapong say OC hospitals. Now for 8 years NDC buy after 2008 no. Omo to me e back okra. Yes buy during 2016 after 2016 and na yabe regional hospital wa yabe Ga East Municipal Hospital. Your commission in 2019 in Soko Chufupra so Tepa hospitals no November 2020 na Afari Military Hospital and also no 2022 you be hand over Salagane Konongo hospitals no ni nyina yeguso hospital bia ni pa almost ase the almost ase another hospital Husika omokoji Husika for 8 hospitals no all the year share Osudoku district hospital pe Ododoa dia kan nyina o ma anya ho hwe ye buy na ya be restructure sa project no ema CCR no contractors ako back to former site no Kumewu Takrade secondary ene Garu Timpania hospitals no ho polyclinics been so and also almost 30 year under Vamed no and also no almost to me CCR na afraid I are complete edu our central region and no more greater Accra na Savannah northern region Volta region nyina yetume ewie University of Ghana Medical Center almost na shas here and so ewie ye buy na ka over $50 million ya be pesa sika no ya de a complete hospital because hospital si na total kekenesi wa na equipment ni hwe ni ma untumi enko hospital ho nti ya buy $50 million na ya de abeshima yetumi di ewia ya commission 2020 ya October bakunso enwanwa yete se ya papa mama eka is about corruption na mo anga say say mama say mo beti say ya papa mama eka about corruption because mo money Ford ya akwewo Burkina Faso or the buy mo kai your friend Kanazo contractors eduma oye ni nyina asai mo so mo kai pa government official one so le chen mo sa kai say international media be interview we be say why corrupt activity that I say why me and I say me presidency ni che say obia ni ya ka corruption dia adia me jiri say enye president Mahama na e wo say oka because omo ban and a Supreme Court it will rule say omo ya ban a omo create elutu no mo chesika no Supreme Court ruling say NDC aban ya ono create bibi na wa sanfa ade na wa create no ma chafa and you are all aware about where you make case and enema ade ba ko aye ndepa ne se ene na nse ya asenre ya court ewo London International Court of Arbitration ewuru case bia we Ghana nia so uma we ni je papa sana yo NDC wa abemo no company be a friend of Septon Switch the proposal be by says our mobile money interoperability ya ba abemo ya be ya you use only $4.5 million the years ejuma when you sika NDC for nka omu chiama sa Septon Switch company $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion for a juma. Yeah, just $4.5 million. Aye. There ya we wanna say you try a contract no. Onya kukudro e de ya court. E ko claim $478 million. Na court ni say bail mo ni wudi for mo e da braba for njomu di asem against yomo $478 million yi e muka prequire answer for mom yes award cost against them so omunchia Bank of Ghana omo legal fees na ka omabo eni omo time omo say no it is enganya nyame adom ena nana adodanko akufo-addo etumi mo Ghana for mo mpa ebo na mo abato pa moto ye 2016 and 2020 nka say $1.2 billion yi mo nim Agambira that time nka scanning nyina echo ho hwe difference wa percentage terms ahin when na actually abomodin ama yetumi nya sika e dey free SHS no wetin dey yetumi aye one district one dam one district one factory wey sika wey aye save here no eno na aboaye eneno yaye planting for food and jobs because enye saa nkasa sika nyina akọ mo be kaya omo training college allowance that is teacher training college allowance nursing training college allowance ya no mutumi ntia na obe den we tia o ade akoso $4.5 million now what could the contract akomo obi one go through PPA $1.2 billion me jiri say ade ha dwen pa yen dia ya dwen mu na say ka say ya fight corruption enye dede because you wo memu ha go for ya allegation against them of corruption ebi okra ya ban omo from public life omo tumi nye adwuma bion ebi mo kra du mra yetumi ade omo call tashi fire rage ekoku omo for corruption but still no corruption no eda so wo ho ye new patriotic party ya dwimo de corruption enya ade aye pono prekope ade a process also institutions bua meko corruption no yetumi ebiam ya dwimu no say process wo ho na human interface ne doso bua ma corruption ne koso enunti no ya try say through digitization no ye be bomode eyi ankrankra nsia wo nema bebre nti na ya paperless post system no the first o do nema ba 2 weeks 3 weeks na ntumi yi ene wo hu hia sa baba ko na port ho system na ya no o ya ibeturi kra o pese de ba ofia ya de ba ofie and o ko goro boys wo a friend saying passport office na DVL ni nema nyina and o passport o tumi ye online ntina che say goro boy bia hu asem nim e ya ade a yes, it is a proper way of ensuring that you reduce corruption drastically. And then, apart from strengthening your friend is saying procurement laws, no, even e-procurement. You want standardized prices for almost all contracts. Which means sorry for a couple and gas handkerchief fee, meanwhile the metono bears $100. Yama standard and to say the air Brazil dokono yekoto no be say de wo ho no your standard price for dokono to ko Brazil o ko Senegal o ko info o tumi ko to dokon dollars sibia your friend say NDC for eto dokon e de ko Brazil no de e ka ho bi onso ye say a civil society organization you be strengthen money more kwan no also I part of legislation and you come and I'm so happy about the recent GNPC for investment on person civil society conversation now dream put there was project in the assistant but you must also understand say if you are there are certain instances also taking advantage of the situation nyame adon from records say you determine price information be as to how to improve on our bargaining chip and bargaining strength now idea very encouraging me did say yeah bomb abaso e wo dwumadi a omodi they can be on say your investment aye wo ya pomodin no very 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 heavy your investment aye wo adesuamu ehunhia papa na adesuamu no free SHS the infrastructure development na by a tertiary and TVET educational way no so no and also no yeah boy home modern because of the Jumapa the whole continent African Continental Free Trade Secretariat Ghana and into the na businesses be abaha into anya no one say a lot of car manufacturing companies try say on be relocate wa Google any Twitter abagana ha ebe abuana ye mbrante ne ye mabawa ene omo abefo efidie so agro eno na sika wom because we share sika for we say afra na nyina anya nkofo a omo wo extractive industry ana say agriculture industry omo digitized industry no omo ena ewo sika pa ajumo sakora na ni sika owo bafu eho na ye encourage say Ghana ibetumi akọ intimidate no baby a yedu no baby a ye ma obi even the former president to say NDC say on beki kansem ensem a enye no kre enu na ewie ya frem ha say ye be say chirechire mu na mu hu say NPP nye mfa ya ho ntoto NDC ho because there's nothing to compare ourselves with ejuma ayeye for the past 5 years aban bia ni ho aba etumi ayese ejuma no yegusu ayeye na me gidi say to me say 2024 endu no say ban say records ena ye de eto aba ye bebi ti omo of records e ban say yen church ensemu na Ghana frontier ase a ye de ahombrase e be church ensemu ma Ghana fo ehun say ye yi NPP fi ho a party bia ni ho a ebetumi abeye nyemapa said the yetumi abeye in the past 4-5 years madam ase
Thank you very much, General Secretary, for that delivery in the 2 languages. Time is fast spent, so we want to bring the session to an end. As I have congratulated the General Secretary, I want to acknowledge the presence of the National Treasurer, Mr. Agyapong. We also have Deputy Director of Communications here, Jenny Quinn, and of course, where's Mr. Santiago? Deputy Director of Communications, Mr. Santiago. Press aid to the General Secretary, Mr. Idi Mudaidin, and Mr. Goodfellow Odai, also on the team. Thank you all very much for coming. The session is at an end. Thank you for coming.